Hey everybody, how's it going? So a few days ago I uploaded a video titled "What Pisses Me Off About Lobbyists in the United States." I wanted to get out in front of an issue that I realized was going to start happening, which is lobbyists starting to play what I call the cry bully, which is where it's kind of this concept of like you start a bar fight and then you call the cops kind of thing. What offends me is when you have groups of people that will give thousands upon millions of dollars to different politicians. I brought up one example in that video of a lobbyist that gave thousands of dollars to a politician, and surprise, surprise, when she brings up fear, uncertainty, and doubt regarding a bill to protect consumer rights, they vote against it. Like, imagine that. And that in this process, that they are offended, that they're the victim, that they're the one that's like, poor me. And it's offensive to me. And one of the things that I brought up in that video was that there was a lobbyist from the CTA, and they brought up that if I work on a phone, or you have to worry about if independent repair works on a phone, that what if TikTok gets installed on it? And I put in the thumbnail, this guy's clueless, because I believe that to be, in my opinion, correct. That is clueless. Customers have the right, and often do reserve the right, to not give me the password when I fix their phones to test it in store on their own. That means that I cannot even see anything that is on the phone, much less actually install applications onto that phone. So that's just ridiculous. Now, I made the point that even if we don't say things like this, like I think they're clueless, they're going to play the same game anyway. And I got proven right this morning with that. So I got a notification from YouTube saying that there's a video that I did, and they were trying to get it taken down based on privacy concerns. Privacy. So let's think about that. There's a few things I brought up in that other video that I think are very worth bringing up here. The first is that when it comes to privacy concerns, this is a public hearing. This is a public hearing in a public building that anybody can attend. So in the last hearing that I went to, they did not even ask for my identification. So I could just be visiting here from France on vacation, not even a citizen of the country, and I could show up and view that hearing. The next is that there are lobbyists that lobby on behalf of corporations. In the US, you actually have to register. I know at the very least in Nebraska, you have to register yourself on a website where any Tom, Dick, or Harry can go and look you up. Even if you're not a citizen of the United States, even if you're looking at that website from an IP address from another country, you're able to look at that website and see who these individuals are, who they're lobbying for, and so on and so forth. So the concept that you have a right to privacy in a public hearing, but B, in an industry where it's expected that you fill out a form so that your information is on file for anybody to see, to me is fundamentally ridiculous. Now, YouTube has actually been on my side with this before, and I really do hope that they wind up continuing to stay on that side here. When it came to Yelp, there was this one employee of Yelp that seems to be aggravated that I didn't buy advertising. And I got I discussed it, that she was giving away information from local competitors that I thought wasn't right to try to sell me advertising. And after I put up that video, I got a 1-star review from someone that, after doing a little bit of digging, just so happened to be on their Yelp friends, LinkedIn friends, and so on and so forth. And they filed a privacy complaint against that. Like, I should be allowed to leave Lewis fake 1-star reviews on the platform for the company I work for and not have to answer for it. And YouTube actually said, no, you don't get to do that. Lewis's video can stay up, and I appreciated that. Thank you, YouTube, for doing the right thing there. They don't often do the right thing, but when they do, you should give them credit. Now, this is an even more open and shut case, in my opinion, because this is not just a normal member of the public. This is a paid corporate lobbyist. And according to the law in the United States, if you are a paid corporate lobbyist, you need to file paperwork to be able to accept money from large corporations to lobby the members of the Senate or Congress or Assembly people, or even in these public hearings. It's something that is a foundational in our law. And I think there's a good reason for that. If you have companies that are willing to spend millions of dollars to lobby against consumer rights and talk to politicians against it and give campaign contributions and so on and so forth, hey, wouldn't it be great if we knew who you are? We've decided that as a country, that we want that to be on file. So I find it strange when someone who works in this industry, who's actually accepting payment, accepting money to lobby against your consumer rights, says that there's a right to privacy in a public hearing, in a public building. That building's existence is funded by your tax dollars. Those politicians that are listening to this bill, some of which actually ask me good questions, have their salaries paid by your tax dollars. This is legislation that affects you. So how is it that there is some sort of right to privacy there on YouTube that does not exist in the hearing? If any one of my viewers had the right to show up and listen and record and testify that day, how is it you don't have the right to listen to what they said in the hearing on YouTube? And why is it that you don't have the right to know who that person is on YouTube when you have the right to know who that person is by looking up the paperwork that they're forced to file in order to be a lobbyist in that area? Because somebody in Discord showed me immediately, like within 30 seconds, I posted the video and he shows me, oh yeah, here's the link to all their information where you can see that they're on file as a lobbyist. And several of I remember the Nebraska stream, I streamed it to my channel because I wanted people to actually view it, but they actually streamed it to Nebraska's own legislative website. So you could have literally went to the government website and just watched the stream there if you wanted to see it. So I'm really confused where this expectation of privacy is coming from in a public hearing. It's not like I went on a date with a lobbyist and then, I recorded our conversation at dinner or something. This is a public forum. And the point that I'm trying to make here is twofold. A, don't give an inch, because when you give an inch, they're going to try to expect a mile. If I had actually taken down a video because they were offended with how they were represented because I wrote the word clueless in the thumbnail, can you imagine how stupid I'd feel when now they're asking YouTube to remove a video where I don't even do that? It just says in the thumbnail, this organization decided to lobby against this bill. And B, that I'm sure this is not going to be the last of it, but I really want to hammer home to people, what it is I'm recording and showing you is not secret. And even if this was secret, even if these hearings were held in private, even if these conversations were happening behind closed doors, are you honestly comfortable with that? As a taxpayer, as a citizen of the United States, do you really want all these types of conversations that occur for representatives of multi-billion-dollar corporations speak to the people who create laws that affect you? Do you really want those conversations to happen behind closed doors? Do you really want these conversations to happen where you can't hear what's said? You can't hear the arguments that are used. You can't hear the fallacies that they utilize to convince people who are not knowledgeable in the field that this is scary and that things are going to explode and that micrometers are going to explode and that the market is going to be destroyed and so on and so forth. I think transparency here is a very good thing. And I think, frankly, more transparency is required, not less of it. If you're going to take the check, then, in my opinion, purely my opinion, tough shit. You took the job. Now it's time to stand behind the words that you say when you show up at these hearings to lobby against the rights of consumers. And there was someone who actually works at John Deere for about 18 years, and he emailed me and he said, Lewis, here's where consumers and farmers have a right to be pissed off. And here's where I think they may just be pissed off because they don't understand the system and how it works and they're being unrealistic. He sent me over 12 pages of stuff, and I'd actually like to read it on stream sometime. He pointed out where I was wrong, and I'm more than happy for my wrong statements to stay up on a public website so that you can actually see them, because that's how we get closer to the truth. I say something, you get to disseminate what you believe is correct, what is not correct, because millions of people are watching. If I say something stupid, somebody's going to point it out to me, and then we get closer to the truth. That's the way this is supposed to work, and I'm going to read that gentleman's email, just crossing out any information that may reveal who he is, because I don't want people at John Deere to get all pissy about it. That's the way this is supposed to work. Any testimony that I give, any arguments that I make, all of this, I post all of it, whether I made a great argument or whether I think, I kind of screwed up that day and said something I probably shouldn't have. I let it all be out there. And I'm not the one that signed up to collect a paycheck to do this. So I find it really aggravating that the people who signed up and are collecting paychecks to do this not only don't want their arguments to be in public, but are actually trying to file YouTube claims to have the hearing taken down, because they are that unwilling to stand behind the arguments that they've made. And if you're willing to make these arguments to a senator or an assembly person or Congress, I think you should be willing to make them to the American people. But that's it for today. I'm gonna go back to my office. I had actually so little room in my store that if I want to record a video, I have to leave because we have another board repair person who's sitting in my seat. So at this point, until we move, I literally have no place to sit in my own store. I have been kicked out onto the street. Which is kind of funny. There are a few more hearings. I believe there's some in Oklahoma that I'd like to go to. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss the opportunity to do some lobbying in Hawaii. That would have to happen tomorrow. I'll be honest, I'm starting to learn that there is limited amount that I can do given how expensive this gets. Like in the last week and a half, I think, just between last minute plane tickets across the country, all these Ubers going from one place to the other, eating out and all this other shit. Like I've spent like somewhere between $4,000 or $5,000, and I realized that like I'm getting really close if I go to all these hearings to getting close to that $18,000, $19,000, $20,000, $22,000 a month expense, which I would like to avoid at the very least until the new store is done being constructed and I feel a little bit more financially secure. But also, I just need a day to take rest. And the kind of sad thing is I actually do kind of feel a little bit guilty that I'm taking a day off here because I feel like I'm kind of screwing the people of Hawaii out of the possibility to have this pass, since a lot of you commented and said Hawaii is one of those states that would actually be in favor of legislation like this. They are more than it's not like they're going to say, have any other states passed it yet? Have other states passed it yet? We're not going to do it unless somebody else does. They're not like that. So I would like to take a day off before I sit in the plane for another 12 hours. But I'm not going to let this stuff get to me. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. It is stressful, financially and otherwise, but it is mostly stressful just from that. Like I have a lot of balls up in the air at the moment, but I fully intend to keep doing what I'm doing, because if I'm pissing, I feel like I'm pissing the right people off. I think I'm pissing off the people that I should be pissing off, and I think I'm getting the support of the people that I should be getting the support of. And when I see people speak out in favor of this bill, when I see that it is starting to pop up in other states, it really does get me excited. There's actually this one site called legiscan.com. I just got myself a membership to. One thing that I really like, because I search right repair, and there's like 20, 30, 40 pages of crap there. This is a site that lists every single time a bill like this pops up in any area and in the United States and what point in the process it's in. I really would like a way, because they have an API, to have some sort of Discord bot so that every time new legislation pops up in a city or state, that it mentions it in Discord and it says which, what state it's in, what the name of the legislation is, and where it is in the process, so that I could actually show up once the store is done being renovated and once I'm more financially secure and actually can put, the money in to do this, so that I can show up at every single hearing in every single state, but also show up to speak to politicians one-on-one before the bill got passed. I'm going to post some video later from the Senate building. I got to speak to several politicians one-on-one, and that was before the bill got to any sort of committee. And that's where you get rid of the fear, the uncertainty, and the doubt. That's where you cement your argument against the politicians ones. When you're not on a 3-minute timer, when it's not down to the wire and they're stressed about making a last-minute decision. I want to have conversations, robust ones, but the types without money changing hands. Some nice, robust conversations with more senators and more assembly people before any of these bills get to a point of being voted on. I want them to feel secure in what they're voting on before it gets to that point. And I think this would be awesome. I asked Paul Daniels in Discord about helping me put together some software that would post a comment to the Discord Right to Repair room every time a bill showed up in the state based on this. And he believes that his software, unfortunately, would be too buggy in order to do this properly, and that the bill would not be passed. And he wouldn't be able to handle the guilt from it. At least that's what he tells me. Sorry, Paul. Kidding. That's about it for today. I will see you in the next video. There's a Right to Repair chat room in the Discord. There should be a link down below if you want to join the Discord. There's going to be a Right to Repair room in there if you'd like to discuss any of this stuff any further. And honestly, it's been a blast advocating on behalf of all of you. And I look forward to continuing this work. I'm going to find some place to go stay, because right now there's literally no space in my store for me to actually go back to doing work. So, see you later.